my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most amazingest homesteading channel on the planet that has nothing whatsoever to do, dear Waldo, whatsoever with homesteading off the grid. Man, here we are. It's officially spring. I looked outside this morning and I said, weather, is it going to be warm or cold? The weather said, yes. It's easy to see why I have over 1 million followers on Sick Twisted Humor on Facebook, huh? All right, so listen. Let's get to why you came here, for some stories. Got some awesome stories. This video is partially sponsored by my novel, From the Graves of Babes, Amazon's former #1 customer-ranked novel in satisfaction. It's the most entertaining ghost novel ever written by me. Spent #1, 6 months there. It's really great. Read it. You can get autographed copies from me, from our Etsy store, and these really cool bookmarks that come with them. You like the eyeball thing? Everybody's like, that's crazy. I like your eyeball thing. They say Crazy Lake and Bigfoot Sasquatch always have my 6. All right. On with the show. I want to thank each and every single one of you who take the time to send in your stories of strange things so that we can share them with our audience. If you have one such story, you can email it to the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. You must give us permission to share your story. Let us know if you want to remain anonymous. We'll keep your name out of it. Let's get to it because I've got quite a few for you here today. This one is from Miriam in Canada, and this is a story about intuition. Miriam writes, "Hi, Kevin. You can use my name if you read this story. My husband, our 2 boys, and myself were visiting friends who had 2 children also. The youngest was a girl about 4 years old. She was in the bathroom having a bath in a few inches of water, and her mother and I were in the living room having a coffee and chatting. All of a sudden, I just blurted out to her, 'Something is wrong with Lisa,' her daughter. The message came out of nowhere. She went in the bathroom, and Lisa, who had a minor cold, was having a febrile convulsion and down flat in the water. Her mother grabbed her out, and we screamed, and the men came running. My husband performed CPR on her on the kitchen floor, and her dad, the wife and dad, called an ambulance. The ambulance came right away, and the little one was fine, but went to the hospital for observation. I don't to this day know why I suddenly told her mother something was wrong. We couldn't hear the child splashing with the seizure. I just knew something was wrong. To this day, I give thanks to the Creator because that's the only way I would have known something was wrong in the bathroom in a different part of the house. Not a ghost story, but a pretty special event for a young girl. Regards to you and dearly, and glad the storm missed your part of the country. Miriam in Canada." Yeah, that's a great story. You know, these stories don't have to be about ghosts and other crazy, just the unexplainable. Those are the best stories. And I'm glad that happened. Saved a little girl's life. Here's one from Rose. This one has to do with angels. And Rose references a video we made last week when another viewer sent in an actual picture of what a lot of folks think was an angel. So here's what Rose has to say. "Dear Kevin, hello, how are you? Your new birds are such darling babies. You have my permission to use my name and share the contents of this email. Our new birds, by the way, are doing great. They're going on 4 weeks old now, growing like crazy, healthy. So far, no caca-caca-hachoo." Rose continues, "I believe I saw the same angels as Joanne did." That's from a video titled, if you missed it, it's about 5 days back. It was titled, "Bigfoot Sasquatch Came Out and Knocked Loud and Clear." So we potentially had some activity going on in the background behind us here on that day. She continues, "In 1997, I was the recipient of a road rage. I was on my way to work one morning, and it was still dark out, just starting to become light. It was rush hour. I was in the fast lane, and all 4 lanes were bumper-to-bumper traffic. As I was driving, I saw headlights coming at me from the right side. It was a car coming right at me. I don't know how he'd managed to cross over 4 lanes in heavy traffic. His car T-boned my Ford Aerostar minivan, and it rolled over several times. That's how hard he'd hit me. During the rollovers, I died. I went to heaven. I saw similar angels as Joanne did. There were about 20 of them, and they were all singing to me. It was the most beautiful and somewhat haunting sound I'd ever heard in my life. And I happen to be a musician who plays classical guitar. My angels did have wings. They were also tall, maybe 7 feet or so. Except for their white gowns and white wings, their entire body was made of many different colors of bright twinkling lights. I guess the only way to describe it is like seeing the lights in the universe. They, the angels, were just made of pure energy. Heaven was a peaceful, warm, and loving place, just like being home, but so much better. I wanted to stay, but the angels told me, go back and do good. After returning to earth and after healing from my injuries, I started having visions, and they came to me in dreams. Most of my visions/premonitions have come true. Some of these visions include plane crashes, weather phenomena, deaths, including my mom and younger brother, etc. I guess you could call these visions blessings from the angels. Well, that's what I call them anyway. I have other blessings too. Like when I would be outside with my kids, swarms of butterflies would flutter around my head. When I'd come home from work, I would find stray cats, dogs, possums, and other wild critters just chilling on my front door. Excuse me. They were never aggressive. They were just lounging at my front door taking a nap. I guess they know that I wouldn't hurt them. There are other blessings that were bestowed upon me, but I will stop at the critters. I believe Joanne and I saw the same angels. Tell Joanne I said hi. Warm regards, Rose. That's a really amazing story, isn't it? Well, I mean, I don't even know if you call it a near-death experience. Sounds to me like a coming back from death experience, and she brought back with her some supernatural abilities. Great story, Rose. Thanks for sending it. Here's one from Darla. Darla has been a regular contributor for quite some time. She sent us a lot of stories. We've read a few. Darla, you kept this one short enough to be read on YouTube here again. Thank you for that. Darla's submitted some like nearly 3,000 word stories, and they're awesome. We don't get around to reading all the stories that come into us because there's simply not enough time. However, as most of you by now know, if you're new, you don't, we put all these stories together, and when they hit 40,000 words combined, that's the length of a full-length novel. We issue them in volumes called True Hauntings, real stories of people's personal experiences with the supernatural, paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, aliens, and abductions. They're all available on Amazon in both print and Kindle. The link for those are in the description box below. Darla has several stories in those volumes because she sent so many, and some longer versions too. This one will go, I think we're up to volume 10 we're putting together now. So Darla writes, and this is about ghost animals. This is a really cool story. I had to wipe my nose on my sleeve like a 3-year-old, and that triggers some yups, so I tried to hide it. Listen, remember this. In regards to yuppies, this is one of my new favorite expressions. An ounce of pretension is worth a pound of manure. You're not as important as you think you are. Get over yourself. All right. Darla writes, greetings, Kevin. You crack me up with your eyeballing the camera and get my 6. Hey, man, it inspired the free bookmark you get when you buy print copies of our books from our Etsy store. More importantly, I appreciate your no-nonsense, common-sense advice that is so sadly needed these days. That's what I'm saying. Everybody calls me the weirdo. I'm the weird guy because I escaped the soul trap. I don't live the lunatic nightmare called the system. And I'm crazy? Whatever. All right, she continues, particularly when you made it clear that you cannot feed or support all of your subscribers. I know, right? I just about spit coffee everywhere laughing. I love your show. Don't worry, I'm not ill. It's the pollen that's coming out. That's the price you pay for planting like hundreds of fruit trees on your property. Once they start blossoming, the bees love it. The old allergies don't. Okay, my latest experience, Darla continues. First, many have referred to me as an empath or a ghost magnet. I really do not know what to say to this. However, since I moved to Maine from California, I have experienced even more these last 4 years than usual. I do not know if the geographical location has anything to do with it or deeper awareness. Anyway, last night we let our dogs out before bed as usual. As usual, they seem to bark at the wind, wild animals, who knows? We live a hair off the grid. After I let one dog in, still waiting for the other, I saw two animal ghost-like appearances / apparitions of what appeared to be two dogs or two long cats come running in behind my dog, but they dissipated prior to entry. I began to close the door, wondering was it fog or snow flurries? Nope, it was not snowing. I blinked my eyes, reopened the door because my other dog was still out, and the same two came running towards the door again. And again, they dissipated / disappeared before entering. When both dogs were in, I opened the door one more time, nothing. Also, a couple of weeks ago, I swear I saw a wolf in our grove of trees in the distance. It wasn't solid, however, and dissipated as it meandered away. There are no wolves on this island. As usual, you have my permission to use all or parts of my share. Warm regards, Darla. Darla, thank you for another amazing story. FYI, Darla's lived in several places and she's traveled a lot. And she's had a lot of similar experiences in Maine, in California, in West by God, Virginia, my native homeland. Listen, some people have it, some people don't. And some people have the ability to see and sense things and others just can't. Darla's one of them. And so, Darla, we always enjoy your stories. Please keep sending them in. Again, folks, if you have a story and these folks who have had the courage to share theirs are encouraging you to share yours, email it to us. Again, that email address is crazylake@mail.com, and that email address is in the description box below. Now we have one from Stacy Wicke, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't want to mispronounce this, so I'll show you how she, Wicke. Stacy Wicke writes, "Hi Kevin, my name is Stacy Wicke, and my mom knows how much I am into the paranormal. She thought my husband and I would enjoy your videos. She was right. My husband and I have watched several now and like the subjects you talk about. I personally like when you read someone's ghost story. Reading yours now, Stacy. How cool is that? I grew up in a haunted house, but also things happen around me a lot, even after moving from that house. Similar to Darla. Stacy's somebody that's got it. I have many stories of my own and would like to share a few with you and your viewing audience. You have my permission to share this story and use my name. First and foremost, my husband and I would like to thank you for your service. Stacy, thank you for your appreciation. This story takes place in the house I grew up in. Since my mom got me started on your videos, I wanted the first story I share to be about her and I. The story goes like this. My mom and I were in the kitchen, and at the time, we were the only ones home. The only other thing with us in the kitchen was our dog, Shadow. My mom was at the stove or sink getting dinner ready. Shadow was laying on the floor resting. I came into the kitchen because I was going to get the dog's dinner. There was a small walk-in pantry where we kept the container of dry dog food. As I was entering the pantry to fill Shadow's bowl with food, I heard a voice say, "What is he doing?" I turned to my mom and both of us asked each other at the same time, "What did you just say?" We both thought that the other of us had asked this question, "What is he doing?" and figured it was asked about Shadow the dog. I told her I had said nothing, and she said she didn't say anything too. Our jaws dropped because we both knew we heard this voice. Then we thought again about it, and we both realized it wasn't either of us because what we'd heard was a man's voice. There was not a man at the house at that time. That was creepy after we realized neither of us had said anything. That was not my first experience with the paranormal, but it was the first time I ever heard a disembodied voice, and it was loud and clear. Thanks for having your YouTube channel where we all can share safely and enjoy other viewers' stories. Sincerely, Stacy Wicke. Stacy, thank you for sharing your story. If it wasn't for viewers like you who had the courage to send in your stories, well, shoot, I'd have to make these emails up like the vertically challenged individuals who live under bridges accuse me of doing anyway. That's a politically correct term for trolls. right? Hey, I got into the movement. I try to figure, okay, you're not allowed to say this, even though you mean that. How could you say that? Troll. So vertically challenged is how you say short. Individuals, because you don't want to call them douchebags, who live under bridges, because isn't that where trolls live? So vertically challenged individuals who live under bridges is the politically correct way to say troll. All right. Now we have another story from another repeat contributor, Candace McCarty. Okay, Candace has sent in a few stories. Here's her most recent. Candace writes, actually, Candace sent in two. Candace, I got them both. I'm reading the shorter of the two. The other will go in True Hauntings, or maybe I'll read it in a future video. Candace writes, "Hi, Kevin. I hope this finds you and your family well. I'm going to fast track a little in my next story. As always, you may use my name, Candace. My location now is Indiana. I moved here to southern Indiana back in 2002. I met a very nice man who was from around here, and long story short, he brought me here where I decided to stay. I started back driving over the road with him in 2003, and we had an apartment together to come back to off the road. In 2004, we decided we would try to buy a house together. They had built some new ones not too far from our apartment. We went to look at them, and the second one was looked at, and I fell in love with it. 3-bedroom, a guest bath, and master bathroom. The price was right, and we made the offer. 3 months later, we closed on it. To keep my friend's name private, I will call him Mark. We got settled in, and Mark's mom gave me an antique dressing table/mirror. It was beautiful. I had planned on giving it some TLC on my next trip back in off the road. I started cleaning it by using Old English wax and cleaning the mirror. Mark said it looked very nice and told me dinner was ready. I washed my hands and went out to eat, and we heard something in the bedroom. We went in and looked at the mirror, and it was all cloudy again, like I'd never cleaned it. We went back out to eat. I'll clean it later with something else. We still couldn't figure out what the noise was. Nothing else was wrong. That night, as I lay in bed, it felt like something or someone was touching my feet. I just curled up and went back to sleep. I mentioned it to Mark, and he said he thought I was moving my feet, which caused the blankets to move. Excuse me again, folks. Daggone pollen's getting in my throat. No, I woke up in the same position I fell asleep in. We got up, had breakfast, and finished unpacking everything to get the house in order. I decided to take a shower and freshen up before dinner. My turn to cook. I was in the shower and I heard the bathroom door open, and I asked Mark if he needed anything. No answer. I rinsed the soap off my face and looked at the door wide open, but no one was there. Weird, but I have seen weirder things. Maybe it had not latched. After dinner, we watched a little TV and then went to bed. That night, the same thing happened. Something touched my feet, only harder this time. I kicked out of its grip and Mark woke up. What's going on? Something grabbed my feet. Maybe you were dreaming. Nope, not asleep yet. The next night, it grabbed his legs and held him down. We got up and went to the living room and slept on the 2 couches. The next morning, I went to wash my face, and I saw what was messing with us. I found a picture of the closest thing I could find to what it looked like. I'm attaching it to this email. I gave the dressing table back. I was not meant to have it, and I gave the table back I was not meant to have, and I released the demon. It left as soon as the dresser was removed. So, folks, what did she see? She did send me that picture, and it looks like a demon. Here, have a look. Yeah, I think I'd be getting rid of that table, too. That sounds like an attachment spirit. You know, that's common in this realm of the way of thinking in this genre is that spirits can attach themselves to objects, and it sounds as if that thing had itself attached to that dresser, and it's probably a pretty good idea that you did give it back. So, folks, there are some really good stories for you today. I hope you enjoyed them all. I asked folks to try to keep their stories between like 200 words and 500 words. Darla's was about 500 words. That was probably the longer there today because that allows us time to get several of them in. We got about half a dozen of them in here in 20 minutes or so. So I want to thank all of you for being here to support this channel. Thanks for watching these videos. There would be no reason for me to make them if you weren't here to watch them. So I really do appreciate you giving me some of your time. Hope you're taking care of yourself out there. And for those of you who have been here since this past winter because of the drones, the orbs, the creepy fog, the hachu, and all that stuff, don't think I've forgotten about you or that I've forgotten about that topic. I have not. For some reason, all information on all that stuff seems to have gone underground, and it begs the question, why? What's going on? Anybody got any new news on any of that stuff? Let me know. Send me an email, put it in the comment section, and I will be honored to see you here for more next time. Here at the greatest homesteading channel on the planet. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid. See you next time. Watch this. I'm going to try this cool move on Piglet I've been working on. See if it works. Okay, ready? Watch. Remember, you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. Brah.